It wasn't just a heist. It was a performance, filmed, edited, and released by the criminals themselves. Santo Domingo, 1993. The capital felt tense, like a drumskin stretched too tight. But inside one quiet neighborhood, behind shuttered windows and concrete walls, 4 men were building something. Not a crew. A concept. Not thieves, yet. But dreamers, all with their own scars. Luis Felipe, a former soldier. Methodical. Precise. Knew how to keep his mouth shut. Martín Delgado, filmmaker turned hustler. He saw angles others missed, both on screen and off. Raúl, the getaway driver. Born with gasoline in his blood and fear nowhere in his veins. And finally, Javier, the talker. Charming. Persuasive. Dangerous when bored. They didn't meet in prison. They met in a video store. Martín was renting action movies. Old-school heist films, French New Wave, American classics. Luis noticed. They talked. And the idea came not from desperation, but from cinema. What if we made one for real? Martín asked it as a joke. But nobody laughed. They had no money, no weapons, and no blueprint. But they had obsession. Not with the cash, with the craft. This wasn't going to be just another robbery. It was going to be art. And their canvas would be Banco del Progreso. They didn't rush. This wasn't the kind of job you scribble on a napkin. It was storyboarding. Rehearsing. Perfecting. Martín led the vision. He treated the heist like a director treats a film. Every movement had to serve the story. He started filming locations months in advance. Quietly. Casually. As if scouting for a documentary. No one suspected the man with the camera. Tourists did it every day. Luis handled the security analysis. His background gave him access. Old uniforms, old friends, old floor plans. He mapped out shift changes, alarm response times, weak points in the bank's rotation. Raúl learned escape routes. He spent nights driving random loops through the city, timing lights, measuring distances, noting side streets. He didn't speak much. But his maps were cleaner than anything the police would ever have. Javier. He was the face. He visited the bank often. Opened a small account. Flirted with the tellers. He asked harmless questions. Smiled a lot. Meanwhile, Martín convinced them to do something unheard of. Record everything. Not just notes. Not sketches. Full video logs. Meetings. Test runs. Mask fittings. He said, if we're going to do this, we're going to document it. Frame by frame. At first, the others hesitated. But slowly, they agreed. Because this wasn't just a heist. It was a legacy. They rented a small apartment in the suburbs. That became their studio. Their war room. Walls lined with blueprints. Timers. Cameras. They trained in silence. No outside help. No loose lips. One rule bound them all. No one gets greedy. No one gets famous. No one dies. The day was chosen. A Monday. Early. Come. Just another weekday at Banco del Progreso. And behind the glass doors, history was about to press record. Monday. 8:02 a.m. The bank doors unlocked. It looked like any other morning. Employees arriving with coffee in hand. Security guards nodding through glass. Customers waiting patiently. Inside, the 4 men were already in place. No ski masks. No weapons drawn. Just calm. Luis entered first, dressed in his old security uniform. Not a replica. The real thing. He greeted the guards. Temporary shift, he said. Back from leave. No questions. Just familiarity. Javier followed, holding a folder and a fake ID. Said he was from corporate. Internal audit. Flashed a smile, dropped a name, walked past the front desk like he belonged. Martín was next, camera in hand. Promotional shoot, he told the manager. A staged video to show community banking in action. Raúl stayed outside. Parked in a delivery zone. Engine idling. Sunglasses on. He looked like just another driver waiting on pastries. By 8:17 a.m., the players were all in place. Luis disabled the silent alarm from inside the break room. He'd studied its wiring for weeks. A precise cut. No alerts triggered. Javier walked to the vault access door, where the day's cash transfer had just begun. He looked the manager in the eye and said the code word. Sunrise. That was the signal. Martín turned the camera. But now it wasn't aimed at customers. It faced the vault. Luis locked the front doors. And in seconds, the illusion shattered. They moved fast. Tied hands, not necks. No one was hurt. No one screamed. They weren't there to terrify. They were there to extract. Vault open. Carts rolled. Cash bundled in tight black duffel bags. $20 million. In local and U.S. currency. The crew knew the schedule. Police patrol passed every 42 minutes. They had exactly 13 left. Martín kept filming. Quiet. Focused. It wasn't chaos. It was choreography. 8:33 a.m. Exit. They left through the service corridor, not the front. Switched clothes in seconds. Tossed duffels into Raúl's van. Drove off with the morning traffic. Merged with the city like ink in water. Behind them, silence. No alarms. No shots. Just one blinking camera light. Still recording. By 9:04 a.m., police finally arrived. No broken glass. No hostages. No blood. Just empty shelves and open locks. The vault looked like it had been emptied by bank employees. Because it had. Security footage? Wiped. Alarm logs? Disabled. Witness statements? Confused. Everything felt too clean. Too professional. And that's what made it suspicious. Inside their hideout, the crew was celebrating in silence. No champagne. No high fives. Just steady breathing. They'd done it. And they had it all on film. But that was the first fracture. Martín wanted to edit the footage. Make it a full documentary. Not for release, he promised. Just for us. Luis disagreed. He didn't want trophies. He wanted distance. The tension grew fast. Then came the news. A journalist named Osvaldo Pena got wind of the strange heist. He'd covered organized crime before, and something about this felt too elegant, too narrative. He called it a movie without a script. And started asking questions. Meanwhile, Javier couldn't stay quiet. He was seen flashing stacks of cash at a bar just 10 days later. Different clothes, new watch, same smirk. Word spread. Police didn't know who pulled it off. But they started looking at how. Every employee was investigated. Shift records. Camera access. Call logs. Then came a leak. Someone, maybe a neighbor, maybe a relative, tipped off authorities about strange filming equipment and suspicious meetings in a rented apartment outside town. By the time police arrived, the place was empty. No people. No cash. But they found something else. A box. Inside, undeveloped film reels, labeled by date. The crew had taken most of the footage with them. But Martín had forgotten one box. It was enough to spark a theory. And a manhunt. The footage changed everything. It didn't show faces. But it showed process, setups, rehearsals, even crude title cards like Scene 2, Timing Test. It was proof this heist wasn't random. It was crafted. Authorities went quiet. No press conferences. No public statements. Instead, they started following patterns. Luis noticed it first. A car tailing him at distance. New faces on his street. He didn't go home that night. Javier didn't notice at all. He'd started staying at hotels, spending carelessly, chasing attention. And that's what got him caught. Police picked him up outside a casino in Santiago. He had a fake ID and a briefcase with $80,000 in mixed currency. At first, he denied everything. But the moment they showed him a photo from the film reels, he froze. He didn't give names. But he gave away just enough. 2 days later, Raúl's van was found abandoned in the countryside. No fingerprints. No driver. Just a blood-stained map in the glove box, and one of Martín's scribbled notes. Luis vanished. Gone without a trace. No passport activity. No paper trail. Martin stayed the longest. He kept moving, changing apartments, growing a beard. But his obsession betrayed him. Weeks later, a local camera shop owner reported a man trying to develop footage from unusual reels, vintage stock, professional grade. The man paid in cash. Seemed nervous. The police raided the shop. They missed Martin by hours. But the negatives. They were real. One strip showed someone in a mock police uniform. Another, stacks of bills laid out like a storyboard. The authorities had no names. But they had a blueprint. And now, the myth was public. A crime too perfect to ignore. A story too cinematic to disappear. The case never closed. Not officially. Not completely. Javier stood trial alone. He was charged with obstruction, possession of counterfeit documents, and suspected involvement in a federal financial crime. But without clear footage or direct witness testimony, the robbery itself couldn't stick. He served 3 years. Then vanished too. Raul was never found. Some say he fled to Venezuela by boat. Others claim he was killed for crossing into cartel territory with too much cash and no permission. Luis. Ghost. His military background paid off. Interpol flagged a man matching his description boarding a flight in Panama. Under a different name, with forged documents, but he disappeared after landing. And Martin. He resurfaced 6 years later. Not in a police file. Not in court. But at a film festival in Bogotá. A short film, listed anonymously, screened under the title, La Caja Negra, The Black Box. It showed masked men preparing for something. Camera setups. Equipment checks. Not the crime, the making of it. Some audience members thought it was genius. Others thought it was fake. But one man in the crowd recognized a shot. A slow pan across a vault door. Identical to the one at Banco del Progreso. The footage ended with a single frame. A handwritten note that said, "True stories leave no witnesses." No arrests followed. No updates were given. No funds were recovered. The bank issued a statement calling it an isolated event. The footage was never released publicly. But in underground circles, the myth remains. A real $20 million heist. Filmed like a movie. By the men who made it happen. No credits. No director. Just the perfect ending.